Rightio then. So, we're episode 215. Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast, episode 214 for Tuesday, the 9th of July, 2024. I'm your host, Mark Webb, gamertag PearsonID, SteamID, Webby360G, and joining me today is...
It's Graham, or GHamOx14.
And Sensei Switch.
Yay! Just a forewarning, this isn't going to be a super long podcast this week. Going to try and keep it to around an hour, which I don't think will be too hard to do. The summer has definitely hit. I've only played 2 games all week, not even been on my Xbox or PlayStation. Well, I actually did turn on my Xbox briefly for about 20 minutes to try something, and it epically failed, which I'll get into later on. But it's just that summertime, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Work's busy, stuff going on, life. It's just crazy. But it is what it is. So I think we should get straight into it, guys. I know myself and Darren have played, well, I've only played 2 games this week, as I say, and Darren's played both of those games himself. So so I think we're just going to get straight into it, into the new release, which is the first Descendant. Had a bit of a rocky launch, Darren, didn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
So it launched and it had quite a lot of server issues.
What's going on?
So basically, the servers, you couldn't log in. I've had a couple of days where the servers have been completely down. I've not been able to log in at all, which has been a little bit frustrating. I've had issues where I've been playing the game and it's been knocking me out to the main menu. That happened while we were playing yesterday, in fact, as well. Me, you and Pudster were in the middle of a game. Me and Pudster both got booted. But those issues aside, I've been enjoying it. It does give me vibes of a couple of games, one being Warframe and the other being Destiny. It's kind of a meld, so it's a third-person shooter. It's free to play by a company called Nexon. This company's been known for doing mobile phone games in the past, so you know where I'm going to be going with the microtransaction bullshit very soon. But I've been playing this on PC and Steam Deck. Runs really well on PC, looks really good. Also on Steam Deck, it runs pretty well. It has to be on the lower settings, of course, but frame rate wise, it's pretty smooth. You do get some instances where it is a bit slow, but and choppy, but for the most part, you know, it's very serviceable on the Steam Deck. And the other positive as well is there's plenty of different characters in there. When you start the game, though, you don't get many to choose from. I think only 3, but then you can either unlock other characters or you have to actually buy them, and they are not cheap from what I've seen. And they're called Descendants, and they all have different abilities. The Descendant I play has like an icy ability, so she can freeze the enemies and put down whirlwinds and shit like that, which is pretty cool. And the thing that I like about this game as well is that all of the characters that I've seen so far are actually very well designed looks wise, and they all have really cool outfits that goes for the blokes and the women. And they, you know, just look like decent characters who you would want to play as. Which is really, really cool. As I say, the world looks quite big on the world map. I've only been to two of the areas, so I'm guessing this is quite a long game. But yeah, it has all the typical stuff like your leveling, and it goes a bit more intricate later on. I think Darren knows it better than me at the minute. I still find it a little bit confusing when it comes to what guns to equip, because you can have 3 weapons equipped at a time and you can upgrade them. And then it's very loot heavy, a bit like Diablo, where you constantly dropped weapons and armor modules and all these other bits and pieces. And then there's lots of inventory management, which can get a bit tedious because your inventory gets full a lot. So you have to break things down, and then it's figuring out what's the best equipment to equip. And then there's another part of the game where you research items, where you have to collect items and research other weapons and descendants and things like that. So the game can I think it can get quite deep if you really want to get into that kind of level of it. I'm still kind of casual on it, so like I'm finding a lot of it a little bit, it goes over my head a little bit. I'm just kind of one of them people, I want to just jump in the game and run around and shoot people, etc. I think the co-op works really well, be it if you're with friends or with randoms. So with friends, you can just invite them in. It's got full cross-play, which is really good. So I managed to add Darren and Pudster very easily. We've had some games this week. It's run pretty smooth for the most part, apart from the couple of network errors which have dropped us out. It's not happened too often. But all the missions in the game so far, you can jump into them and it randomly puts you in with other people that are currently doing those missions, or random people can join your mission to help you along as well. So that's pretty good as well, I think. Yeah, Darren, is there anything you wanted to say on it? I know you've been playing it quite a bit yourself.
Yeah, I've got 2 characters at max level now.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay, you definitely played it a lot more than me then.
I mean, it doesn't take super long. As you know, there's like that defense in Kingston event that you can run for like a shitload of XP.
Yeah.
And stuff to sort of level characters up. So that's what I've mainly been doing. And there was like a boost event going. I think tomorrow's the last day of it.
Right.
Because they basically added it because of all the troubles and issues people were having.
Yeah.
Like with logging in, and obviously I was playing it on PS5, and at launch it was really ropey, like worse than the beta ropey.
Wow.
In fact, people were saying like the PS4 version was better than the PS5 version when it came to sort of obviously frame rate and stuff.
Yeah.
Within the last couple of days, I haven't really noticed that at all. The game looks a bit sharper and it runs a lot smoother.
Right. Okay.
Whether that's because there's less people hammering the servers or something, I don't know, or whether they've just done other stuff at the back end to sort of fix a few things here and there.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, there's obviously quite a lot to sort of get round. I mean, it bombards you with a shed load of stuff, being like a free-to-play, as they usually do. Like
Yeah.
I did laugh when, obviously, I think it was Nick in our groups that said, how many microtransaction currencies are there? Thankfully, there's only one. But I think in-game currencies, there's God knows how many.
A few, yeah.
Probably about 100, maybe, possibly, depending, because obviously it's used for research.
Yes.
So a lot of it will come down to when you first start the game, you're given a choice of 3 characters to choose as. Whichever one of those you unlock straight off the bat. The rest of the characters you unlock through playing the game. One of which is basically given to you as you progress through the story, which is Bunny.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are using, and that's the one that I got to 42nd or whatnot. And then you basically run other open world area missions. I will say the open areas are kind of still a bit shit, because they're like these huge, big open spaces, but yet you have these condensed little missions on them that you just repeatedly run.
And they're all very samey, aren't they?
For dropped, yeah. You'll end up doing the same defense missions. I mean, the most interesting one was like where we had to escort something somewhere, and then it ended up getting to the end, and it ends up with a defense. Or some of them might be like, kill enemies, pick up the items that they drop them in this canister box to sort of progress. But yeah, if you want to unlock any of the other characters, you can go and research them at one of the bases in Albion or one of the little areas. and you can highlight each individual aspect of what you need to craft that character or weapon or multiple other things as well that you can craft. And then when you click on it, it will tell you where you get that item from, and it will give you a percentage drop chance.
Ah, right, okay.
For that. So I've now got a third character being researched, which was the one I was after, Freya. And I'm also researching, I think, one of Valby's units as well, because I don't think you can actually get hers straight out. You have to research each unit to then craft her over time. Hints I will give, which I wasn't aware of. You obviously have Descendant modules that you equip to your main character, and then you've got weapon modules that you stick to your weapons.
Yeah.
Now the bonuses, I will say, with the weapon ones, they're good. If you stick them on a gun type, they will remain on that gun type even if you pick up a better version of that weapon.
Oh, that's good.
You'll just equip that weapon and the mods are already on there. And the more you use the weapons, the proficiency goes up, which I think increases their mod capacity that you can actually put on there. Which is the same with yourself. As you level up, you'll be able to equip more mods. You'll also be able to hold more items in your inventory. Two things I didn't know early on was you may have picked up like a gold item, Webby, like a mod that changes your melee attack. Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay.
And you can slot it into the melee thing. Like I've got like a punch. I've found one called which is a tonfa as well, which replaces melee with tonfa. Now, when you level those up, the guy who levels up those mods, it will increase the amount of mods that you can select, or like your capacity for mods. It will put it up by 1 because it takes 0 to do it. So every time you level it up, it will add another number on. So it's well worth upgrading those, although past the 3rd or 4th level, it starts costing a shitload to do. And if you're lucky, you might come across like an ultimate mod, which is like red, and they're character based.
Right.
And they take 16 to slot, which, as you know, is a hell of a lot. But yeah, when you level it up, it reduces the cost by 1 each time it's leveled up for you to slot. Another thing which I noticed and Pudster told me about, which is also in Warframe, where you've got your Descendant module selector, you'll notice a couple of the slots have little symbols on them.
Yes.
If you put a mod that's the same symbol as that, I believe it halves the mod cost of slotting it into that.
Right, okay.
So there's kind of a lot of ways of obviously increasing your sort of character per se, because the max rank is 40 for the characters, but yeah, I believe the enemies scale up past that. I'm not too sure what the weapons are and the other things yet, because I'm still only around where I'm picking up like level 36, 37s.
Right, okay.
But yeah, as far as the game goes itself, I'm enjoying it quite a bit. For a free-to-play, I mean, there is obviously going to be a lot of grind and all that kind of stuff involved because it's a free-to-play. There's going to be a shitload of microtransactions. That's how they get their money.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said on the first day, there's lots of ultimate characters that you can buy outright using in-game currency, and it's pretty much the cost of a full game.
Yeah, for one character.
If you want one of those, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can earn them in-game, but I'm imagining it is a massive grind to do.
Yeah, well, as I say, like when I was playing, I was looking at the different cosmetics for the characters and the outfits. You need to buy the currency, and you need to buy at least £16 worth of currency to buy
because
just
none
outfits.
of them.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that actually ends up being the right price for what you're paying for is the battle pass.
Right. Okay. I've not even looked at that, to be honest.
Everything else, I believe, is just under or just over.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. typical thing is that you can't just buy something outright. You got to buy like something's like 800 in-game gold, but you can only buy like 500 or 1,000. You know what I mean? So you got to buy the 1,000 to buy this item, and then you have 200 just sitting there doing fuck all. You know? It's
Or like,
very annoying.
that's 270, and you can buy it in like 250, 500.
Yeah,
You're just like, oh, you sly buggers.
yeah.
But I will say, I think if you buy the battle pass, which is kind of done in a weird way in this game,
Okay.
that I will say. So I believe you slowly level it up by just playing through the game, but the main way of actually leveling it up is by doing daily, weekly and seasonal challenges.
Right, okay.
So when you go to the battle pass page, you'll notice underneath there's like a challenge section, and if you go to that, like today I had things like capture 5 outposts, kill 200 enemies with high-powered rounds,
Right,
because each
okay.
different weapon uses a different ammo type.
Yeah,
Obviously, another classic thing is make sure you carry 3 weapons. You have 3 weapons: main weapon, sub weapon, and a special, which
Yeah.
is done by holding down the button instead of
Yeah.
just tapping it.
yeah.
Yeah, make sure they're all using different ammunition types.
Yep.
Otherwise, you will screw yourself completely if you run out of ammunition.
Yeah. Gotta be done. But no, yeah, as I say, Darren, I think for a free-to-play game, from what I've played so far, it's been really enjoyable, to be honest. And
Yeah,
so-
I can't say anything like too bad about it outside of the
Yeah.
launch issues and me finally finding out how to log out of the game and to change the options from within the game, because it was not saving my settings.
You have
If
to
I was
hold
doing it on the
down
front end,
start or back
start
button
in
or something.
Albion, yeah,
Yeah.
or something, yeah, and then it brings up another menu.
One other negative I will say, and this won't affect too many people, but for me it was annoying. So when I started to play the game, I just launched it on Steam and didn't make an account or anything. So I played as a Steam guest or whatever it is. But I've realised online that you could do cross saves, like so you could play it on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, whatever, and your character just carries on. Well, that's all well and good if you make the account and link it to your Xbox and Steam or whatever before you start playing the game. Because I made an account, linked my Steam account to it, and then I had to start the game again. So I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this because I'd already played it a few hours anyway. So I de-linked it, and luckily when I next launched it on Steam, my old save came back. Apparently it's a known issue, which I saw in the discussions on the Steam forums for this game that other people have picked up on. So hopefully they sort that out in the future. But it just means, obviously, I can't, if I feel like playing it on my TV downstairs on my Xbox, I can't, which is a little bit annoying. But apart from that little bugbear, yeah, I think it's a really fun game. And as I say, for a free to play, at the minute, I've not felt compelled at all to spend any money, which has been really good. So I've not spent any money on it. It's all like the things that you can spend money on just look to be kind of the cosmetic stuff or characters or whatever. And I'm not that fussed, to be honest. So at the minute, I'm quite happy just playing it and jumping on with you and Pudster and just having a bit of a good time on it. Even though I will say, like all the missions, that it does get a little bit repetitive after a while, because the missions all could be like, oh, defend this thing against the waves of enemies, or something like that, and I'll just be like, oh, not this again. But it's still fun and it's very enjoyable. So yeah, it's good.
Cool.
So Graham, have you played anything this week?
I have literally this week only played one game.
Wow.
I've been house sitting for a friend. So when I've not been here, I've been at her house looking after the cats, and I've had rehearsals this week. So I've literally had about 2 evenings where I've been home, and all I've played is I downloaded Borderlands 3 off of PS Plus, having previously completed it back on the PS4. I wanted to just dive back in and have another playthrough with a different character. And I'm literally only up to about like level 5 or 6 with a new character. So that's pretty much all I've played. It's an old game. I think everybody who wants to play it is going to have already played it. But I do like this version because it loads... Yeah, it's bizarrely, when I clicked on the link originally, it downloaded the PS4 version. I don't know why. And the difference between the PS4 and the PS5 in terms of loading speed is night and day. Definitely an improvement. And it looks a bit better as well. I mean, I don't know if I'm imagining things or whether there are slightly higher res textures, but it's a good game. It loads fast. Yes, the story is still a bit cringe because it's that sort of a bit like they're a bit like YouTubers, aren't they? The two sort of main protagonists. But
the brother and sister.
Oh yeah, they're a bit annoying, but I mean, it just does what it does quite well. I quite like it. The gunplay feels quite solid and quite fun, and it's sort of quite a well-structured campaign if you can overlook some of the slightly more annoying, screechy storyline beats, really. But that really is, I'm afraid, all I've had time to play over the last week, really.
I know Borderlands 3 is one of the... Darren's certainly played it. This is one of those... I think it's the only mainline Borderlands game I've not played. I just never picked up, even I've seen it on sale a few times. I know it's got cross-play and it would be good for co-op, but just never... I don't know what it is. It just hasn't appealed to me for some reason. I mean, I love the Borderlands 1 and 2, really enjoyed them, but since then I've just been like, couldn't be arsed, and I don't know why, but I know that it's meant to be a pretty decent game, and it's meant to be quite good on haptics as well on the PS5 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes a little, I'd say with all of them, I think this one probably takes a little bit more getting into than some of the others. But I think if you can kind of get yourself up to about level 10 and get the storyline sort of established and get your character sort of suitably leveled up, it becomes just quite good fun. It's got some quite interesting ideas in it, but like I say, there are a lot of games out there. There's a lot of things vying for your attention, but I just thought, for the sake of a PS Plus subscription fee, I'm happy to dive in and just have a little bit of a sort of play with it, really.
Yeah.
They are quite big games. I think that might have been another reason that might have put you off, Webby.
Maybe.
They are kind of quite a time sinky thing, and to get a lot of the best things as well, you required to do like the side quest stuff as well as obviously the main stuff. And
I think another thing with these games as well is I always enjoy playing them on co-op, and I think for this, I just didn't have anyone who said, "Oh yeah, well, let's go through the campaign together," So that'll be for me, because I went through the other ones in co-op on the old Xbox and all that, Yeah, cool, man. I'm glad you're enjoying. So that's this month's PlayStation Plus game, isn't it? As you say,
it is. Yes. Yeah. Yep, definitely worth a try. I mean, for free in quotation marks, for the cost of the subscription, it's worth downloading and having a go. And I'm marginally tempted to have a look at some of the DLC, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, to be honest, the Borderlands DLCs generally go on sale quite a bit, and you usually get a good bit of DLC from the Borderlands games, to be honest, as well. I think the only one that kind of caused a bit of shite was the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands ones.
Yeah.
Which were basically almost like battle arenas rather than actual story stuff.
That's right. Wasn't that on PlayStation Plus as well, that Tiny Tina thing? Or not? I can't remember. And that's another one I've not played.
I know you talked about it the other week.
the standalone is actually on. It's on the game library rather than the PS Plus. It's on like the middle tier, not the most expensive tier.
Right, okay.
So it's I think it's what they call it, the game library or something. I think, but it's on there. But I didn't think that was all that good, to be honest.
I'd say Borderlands 3 is much better. Like,
yeah,
as far as
absolutely.
like, the gameplay and stuff is.
I still think their peak was the first two, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think for me, why I didn't play anymore is I just kind of that fatigue on the same kind of
Burned
game.
out.
And I don't know what it is. I think the art style on the Borderlands games looks really nice. I like it, but I could never play it for more than a couple of hours because it'd give me a headache. I don't know why. Just something like my eyes like struggle to follow it for too long, and it just gives me a bit of a headache. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a game I would probably look at some point. I kind of regret buying the PS Plus last year because I just don't utilize it as I should, and it's not. And it's nothing to do with how good the service is because there's a lot of really good games on there. I think for me, it's just time. Having Game Pass and PS Plus, plus a huge Steam library. It's just, I've hit that point now where I just can't. That's that time factor. So I don't think I'll be renewing PS Plus this year, but just because my kids I was letting the kids play console games quite a lot, and like the last 3 or 4 months, we've really decided to limit the kids' screen time. So they're not really gaming very much at all now. So I'm just thinking, well, okay, what do I really want to play? What am I spending my time on? And for me, and this is, as I say, it's just a personal thing. No knock against PlayStation because, it's great, some great games on there. It's just, for me, it's Steam. It's kind of my primary at the minute. But also Game Pass is kind of my secondary thing where I'm like, oh yeah, that game's good. I want to play that. I want to play that. So that's kind of my gaming, and because obviously Game Pass is on PC as well as obviously Steam, it's kind of like, well, I can play all of those games in one place. So, and obviously the Steam Deck's been a huge thing for me the last year. And I never thought a handheld would really, because I've never really been a big handheld gamer. I mean, I've had a PSP and a Vita in the past and stuff like that, but not really played them a lot. Whereas the Steam Deck is like every day. It gets used every day. It's insane. And it has surprised me how much I use it, and I'll be talking about it in a minute. As well, because obviously I've been playing first Descendant on it, as I mentioned earlier. But it's just like as you get older, and it becomes the time is your greatest enemy when it comes to your hobbies, right?
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yep.
Anyway, Darren, I'm guessing we should briefly mention Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail expansion.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to start off on this by saying I was quite down on it last week, and I hadn't played it an awful lot, really. I played it quite a bit, but not loads. I was kind of like at that phase of the story where it's still kind of building up, and there was a lot of cutscenes, a lot of reading, and I was just like, But now I've kind of got past that, and it's done that classic thing where you've spent a lot of time building up the world, building up the characters, so you know them all quite well, and if you can get through that slog, some real twists and turns of the story happen. And I hit a point, I think, was it yesterday? It might have been, I think it was yesterday, where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that's happened, because it was just like the whole story just got turned on its head and just some epic stuff happened. And I opened up another area. I was like, OMG, did that classic, you know, Final Fantasy thing of what it does in 14. And yeah, really digging it. It feels to me that it's really long. This expansion so far it's really long. I feel like previous expansions I would have finished the story by now, whereas this I've still got quite a ways to go, I believe. Um, so they've really put a lot of effort into making this a good, solid package. Because what I usually find in previous installments, I don't know if you feel the same, is like the story would be long, but not like mega long, and then obviously they drip feed you extra content as the months go on, right? And with extra patches and stuff. Whereas I feel like this has got a lot more content within it. Like I feel like there's more dungeons in this, I feel, and I don't know if that's just my feeling. Like there's more. I think I've done 3 dungeons so far, and I still haven't unlocked the EX roulette or anything. So I think there's more to come.
Oh no, you will do. There's usually
Yeah,
like 5 or 6 dungeons per
yeah,
patch.
yeah. But as I say, like this is like, and what's really good about the Steam Deck, as what I wanted was I was trying to allude to earlier, is I've played this probably 10% on my PC and the other 90% on my Steam Deck, even all the dungeon runs and everything, just because I'm, because I was used to using the controller on the PlayStation anyway when I used to play it on there.
Mm.
And it just looks and runs really well on the Steam Deck, even with the graphical updates. It's just very smooth, very easy to see what's going on, I find, because the screen's a decent size on the deck. I've got the layout on the controller down to a T, really. And it's just been a really enjoyable experience for me playing Final Fantasy on the sofa. My missus is watching the telly and I'm chatting to her and I'm playing the game, instead of me being locked away upstairs in my man cave playing it on the PC. And it's just a really good way, I think, to be playing PC games in general. But I think being able to play a full MMO like this on a handheld has just increased my enjoyment of the game massively, because I'm not tethered down to an area I can play it. I mean, this game even works really well if I take my kids to one of their classes, one of their clubs, and I'll sit in the car and wait for them for an hour, and I'll tether my Steam Deck to my phone, and I'll be playing Final Fantasy 14 online, just sitting in the car, and it works fine, you know. So it's all these things that the Steam Deck is such a great bit of kit, um, and you know, going back to Final Fantasy 14, obviously I don't want to talk about the story too much because spoilers, right? Dom dies. Um, it does get a lot better. So my moaning from last week, I've gone past that now. Like I'm really enjoying this expansion now. It's gone to a really good point. It's got to some weird point, and I'm like, kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? But in a good way, where I'm like, oh yeah, technology, and all this sort of stuff. This could actually happen. Blah 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 blah. It's gone weird and wacky. So I've really
It
enjoyed the dungeon runs.
actually, yeah, it technically veers off back into stuff from the
Mm-hmm.
previous
Mm-hmm.
games to a degree.
It does,
So
yeah.
it never, that's the one thing I love about obviously 14, it doesn't forget previous things.
Yeah.
There's even something that's previously mentioned about, can't remember if I mentioned it last week. Obviously, you've got the king of this area. I can't pronounce the name of it. In fact, it's almost hard to pronounce the name of any of these zones that are in this new
Yeah.
expansion.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. But it's basically overseen by a two-headed mummel who are basically kind of a rarity.
Yeah.
And you actually have fought one in an earlier dungeon in around the 2.0 release, I believe. It was a hard version of a dungeon, had him as a boss at the end,
Yeah.
a two-headed. He's mentioned in the expansion in an offhanded conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, they even remembered that even way back when.
I think as MMOs go, it's an odd MMO just in general because it's predominantly a single player experience. Like this could easily just be a single player game, just
yes, they have made it so you can play through it entirely on your own.
Like you can even do the dungeons with the NPCs instead of queuing up with real people. So it. And it's just such a departure from games like World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, and other MMOs that have come out in yesteryear or whatever. I think that's quite a positive for those people that just kind of like, just want to just have a nice story, just play through the game. I mean, I'm one of those people where I'll play it, I'll enjoy the story, I'll kind of finish a patch, and then I won't subscribe for a couple of months because I'm kind of want to play other things, and then I'll resubscribe when new story stuff comes out. And then you got people like you, Darren, who are like, you log on and do your daily stuff. You're very involved with the guild or free companies, it's called in this, doing, stuff with them. So it's got kind of that, it's got that social aspect as well. So I think they've done a really good job of making this game, kind of available, what's the word, to kind of appeal to... Accessible, that's the word I was looking for. Accessible to a broad range of people. Because if you're kind of one of those people that's kind of like doesn't want to deal with other actual people and enjoy kind of a story, you can do it. Or if you want that social experience, to say, that's all there as well. And even if you're a Final Fantasy fan or not, I think this is probably... Well, this is the best MMO I've ever played. And I think if you're only starting out now, fucking hell, you've got a lot of game ahead of you to play, and just for single player content. So, I think it's a great game, and I think the fact it's called Final Fantasy, it's been overlooked by a lot of people that aren't into those type of games predominantly. But I think if you like MMOs, I think it's a really good one to play, to be honest. So...
I mean, how do you feel about the zones so far?
I mean, I haven't unlocked them all. I'm on kind of the 5th out of the 6 now. They're quite varied because I've got some like kind of green ones. You've got the beachy type areas, which are really good. Then you've got like a sandy type area, which is kind of reminds me of kind of an old Western. And then...
Yes.
Which I think is quite cool. And then the latest area I've unlocked is kind of futuristic without giving things away too much, which I've kind of thought's a bit odd, but I quite like it.
I mean, I'd actually say these are some of the best zones I've actually had or experienced so far as the way they're sort of laid out or the aesthetic to them.
Yeah.
Because obviously a lot of them are kind of multi-leveled to a degree.
I think some of them
like a higher part and a lower part. You've got that area which is like lush jungle, and then you go down underneath and it's like Avatar.
Yeah,
it's all like dark with all the glowing fauna and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I'm really enjoying it, and like you say, you've got like your cosplay Western kind of area, and like you've got some more interesting stuff to come.
Yeah, 100%.
As well.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it, and as I say, the only weird thing I had, right, and I don't think you got this issue on console, was I launched the game yesterday and it said I didn't own Dawntrail, so it wouldn't actually let me launch the game. I was thinking, well, I've been playing it. What the fuck's going on? Well, apparently, and this is such a backwards way of doing it, so when you buy the game on Steam, it gives you a code to put on. You have to log onto the MOG station and pump the code in.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the code that we initially got was the early access code, and that ran out yesterday. So then you had to go onto Steam and get the actual code for the full expansion and then put that in. And I was like, well, that's just stupid, because if I've been playing the early access, I've bought the game. So why didn't I just have a code that just did both? It just seems such a backwards way of doing things.
Yeah, because everyone had to get the specific code as well, didn't they, to put it in, whereas if you just bought it through Xbox or PlayStation, it's just automatically registered and off you went.
Yeah, that's it. So, but no, I've been really enjoying it. I think, as I say, it started off a bit too slow for me, but it was, as I say, if you actually took your time and read it, which I did, it was very good, I guess, for world building and getting to know the characters. But it was very text heavy, so I'm guessing if you're kind of an impatient type of person, it can get a bit monotonous after a while.
Well, to be honest, if you play JRPGs or stuff in general,
Yeah.
in fact, a lot of like games from Asia, they're very text heavy. I mean, look at the first Descendant. I mean, we didn't really touch on it, but like the story, I think most of us are skipping it. I think Pudster's the only one who's like been really paying attention. But to be serious, when it comes to sort of like Korean MMOs, the stories are shit. Like, I'm sorry, they are pretty piss poor, like bare bones. It's almost like that's their afterthought. Is the story aspects. It's like, right, we'll sort the gameplay out, we'll sort out the pay to win aspects and the monetization, then we'll sort the story out.
Yeah.
On top of that.
Cool. Anything else you want to say on it before we move on?
Not particularly, no. I mean, we've talked about a majority of it. I'm just about to sort of head into the last zone.
Brilliant.
Although I won't get that done until like probably the week after next, because I'm not really about at all next week.
Stuff. Yeah. Okay. Fair dues.
I don't know if the raid comes out on Tuesday. Usually the raids come out like 2 weeks after the launch.
Well, I won't be ready at all, mate.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to remember what it's actually based upon.
I don't know.
This time I can't really remember off the top of my head, so that'll be a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some tie-ins before. I'm waiting for you because I know the zone you're in. Are you in the zone that's just after?
The train.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you may or may not see or get there's a Final Fantasy X reference in there if you speak to someone.
Right. Okay.
Because you're in a place called the Lightning Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's what we should say. But no, and I think these two games are the reason why I've not touched my consoles, because they've just taken up. They're very time sinky games, obviously, and that's just been what I've had the time to play. So it's all good.
And obviously they're both available on everything now,
yes,
aren't they? 14 and but outside the Switch, obviously, and the last Descendant is on as well.
Yeah. Cool. Have you guys played anything else, or has that been kind of it?
That's literally it.
A bit of Street Fighter 6, like Battle Passy stuff, but not particularly much else.
Okay, there's been a little bit of news this week that I did want to get into. I know we wanted the episode to be a bit shorter this week, which is fine. So I'm just going to get into some of the news that I thought was quite interesting this week. So Helldivers obviously was a big smash hit earlier on this year. It's lost 90% of its player base now, which is quite a substantial loss. Obviously, there's still that 10% of people playing it. It's quite... I don't know. I mean, I haven't played it for a couple of months now. And I just think maybe it was because that gameplay loop just got a bit stale after a while. I don't know. I certainly enjoyed it while I was playing it, but then I just got to a point where I just couldn't be fucked
You can
anymore.
say that, but then like we've had like quite a lot of big sort of stuff released since then. I mean, Elden Ring DLC would have taken a lot of people away from it. I know loads of people who owned Helldivers all love Elden Ring, so they would have basically moved off it for that. Also, like a lot of them sort of come back for the battle operations and stuff or whatever they're called. So I don't know whether there's a new one of them or whether they've exhausted it to the point and just thought, right, I'll give it a rest for a bit and come back to it.
Yeah, maybe. So there's also rumours going around that Xbox are going to be making some more layoffs in the upcoming weeks, which is not a good look, really. After this, they've just had some mass layoffs in Xbox already this year after spending billions buying out Activision, etc. What is going on with Xbox? They're meant to be pushing out a strong offering of video games, yet they're laying off half their fucking workforce. It just doesn't seem, just doesn't seem to be boding very well in my eyes.
Is that them just not just moving people off of projects that are finished or completed, or
I don't know, mate.
Whatnot? Because obviously Microsoft is a huge organisation, so...
Yeah, but Xbox, they shut down quite a few studios. Well, they've moved people completely out of studios and stuff, haven't they? So, I don't know, mate. It just doesn't bode well in my eyes. Especially since on Wednesday, Xbox Live went down for a couple of hours.
Yes, I thought my console was fucked.
Yeah, so they had some issues with the servers. No one could log in. Happens, I guess, every so often, but...
that's the first one I can remember in, about a year or so, maybe.
Yeah, but it's a big company. It's Microsoft. They've got a big cloud infrastructure behind them. You don't really expect outages like that. But yeah, that happened. So there's
maybe
that.
Someone tripped over a wire or something.
This is something that Peebs mentioned to me, because obviously he's a big PlayStation fanboy these days. This PlayStation Stars thing. Have you seen this on your app and your PlayStation where you do challenges to...
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So it was down for around a month, apparently. But it's finally back up after a month being out. So, make of that.
Yeah, you unlock digital shite for it, don't you? You can unlock a model of a PS2 or something, like a digital picture of a PS2.
Which
fucking NFTs.
Which means nothing.
Yeah. Just go online and look one up. I can understand if it was something that you could display in your PlayStation Home or something.
Yeah.
But they got rid of that. That's the other thing that's kind of bizarre. You think how easy and communication is on consoles and stuff now. PlayStation Home would have actually been pretty good.
PlayStation Home back in the day was on the PS3, wasn't it? I'm just trying to get my consoles right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I loved PlayStation Home. It was great. It was like that social experience, avatars walking around, playing I don't know, table tennis or whatever. I miss that sort of social aspect.
Didn't loads of women get annoyed with was it the Running Man emote or something, where people would just run up to people and do the Running Man emote on female avatars or something, and people moaned? Back in the day.
I can't remember. Oh, because it looked like their avatars were being touched up or something.
Something bizarre, the usual digital rape or something but they could have just think if they'd have had it now, you could have had things whatchamacallit, their PlayStation events, being broadcast live through PlayStation Home.
Yeah. Yeah, strange they killed that off, man. Because these sort of things, there's on Steam, there's a game, or it's not really a game. It's called VR Chat. You don't need VR headset.
Is that still a thing?
Yeah, apparently it's really popular, and people just go in with their avatars and chat shit, and so that sort of thing. Yeah, so those sort of things on the console, I think would probably be quite popular. It just feels like, now you mention it, Dan, I don't know if you feel the same. It feels like console gaming in general is now less social than what it used to be. Because you think back to, say, the Xbox 360, you had 1 versus 100 and Uno and all these kind of very social experiences. And obviously on the PlayStation you had the Home. It just feels like we've gone very backwards in that social aspect of things.
Or even said about the fact that you very rarely meet people in game chat anymore. Everyone's in like party chats and things like that.
Yeah, Discords and things, yeah. So
I mean, that was useful the other day, let's not be wrong.
Yeah.
Like playing first Descendant with all three of us being on a different platform.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'd be good if consoles especially went back to that kind of social thing again. You know, I think PlayStation they had something good with PlayStation Home, and they could have brought out a whole new one for PS5 and put loads of mini games in it and made it like a real good social experience. And then maybe, you know, that PlayStation Stars thing, the things you earn in that, you could like put them in like your little house or something, or on the wall in your little room in PlayStation Home, whatever, and show it off to your friends. You know, something like that. I think that would have been pretty cool. And have like a little social hub where you could play pool and things like that, you know. But no.
What would it be called now? Like PlayStation Safe Space or something? Like I don't know. Like I think that's the only sort of slight downsides with like all of these like social things nowadays.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But, no, you are right, mate. Kind of lost where we were. Oh yeah, so next piece of news. Do you remember a little game called Exoprimal?
Oh yeah, I'd heard this news.
Capcom.
I played it. I think I played it twice. I think it came to Game Pass.
Yeah,
it did.
There is going to be no more development on the game, so when season 4 ends, there's going to be no more development on the game, and they're going to move on to something else. So I don't think the player base is very big on the Exoprimal. It was just, it was okay, but not great.
Yeah, it was okay. You know? It was okay.
Yeah.
It's about as excited as you can get about it, really.
Yeah, I mean, graphically it looked good, and
yeah,
that was about that's all I can say, really. Third person shooting dinosaurs.
It wasn't Dino Crisis. I think that was the first thing that kind of went against it a little bit, although they probably might have even used it to judge if there was a market for people wanting another Dino Crisis.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. It was just very repetitive, Darren. I feel, you know.
It was always online.
Yeah.
And then again, you've got the aspect that it was free on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which some people might think, oh, it doesn't make any difference. No, it does, because I know people on PS5 that didn't buy Outriders because it was on Game Pass.
Isn't Outriders on PS Plus now as well?
Yeah, it probably was, but obviously it launched on Game Pass.
Yeah,
and I remember those people basically saying, well, I ain't paying full price for it. If they're getting it for free, fuck them.
Yeah. It does have an effect on the psyche of gamers, right?
Yeah.
If you've got one platform,
even on the other platform,
yeah. No, I get it. I wonder how that's going to affect Call of Duty this year. Obviously, because it's coming to Game Pass, and obviously on the PlayStation, you're going to be paying £70 for it.
I mean, to be honest, it probably will be the lowest selling Call of Duty.
Well, yeah.
Because obviously they're missing out on a shitload of sales from it being on Game Pass for a start.
Yeah. And it's obviously that it's not just the console players. It'll be on Game Pass on PC as well. So
yeah,
that's two markets, pretty big markets there that you're not going to get sales for, right? Even though I have noticed on Xbox you can buy the deluxe Call of Duty upgrade for £30. So you can have the base game on Game Pass and buy the deluxe upgrade, and I think a lot of people will be doing that. So they'll still get a chunk of money from those upgrade purchases.
Because there were rumours, weren't there, that they weren't going to stick it on Game Pass.
There was rumours, and I think they were umming and ahhing about it internally as well, and then.
I guarantee you, there was someone in the office went, "Are we sticking it on Game Pass?" Well, no, we don't know really. And then someone would have been like, "Why the fuck did you buy this company then.
Yeah.
If they're not going to be sticking their games onto the platform.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is, like, Game Pass is stagnated now, right? It's kind of hit that level, so there's not really any growth anymore. And I think Xbox are trying to find ways to get more growth, but I think they're going to struggle now because they kind of hit that peak now of gamers that are willing to pay the monthly subscription. How many more can you get?
It was
So,
like the streaming bubble, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All Netflix and all of them people, and like a lot of the MMOs and that during COVID, everyone's like, "Ah, this is incredible! Look at these numbers of people." And it's like, yeah, because no one can go out or do anything.
Yeah.
But no one actually realised that. No, that's the highest it'll ever get.
Yeah.
Ever get.
Yeah. I mean, and it still goes to show something. I know people moan about it, but Game Pass is what, $12.99 a month? It's cheaper than the Ubisoft only one. It's cheaper than the EA only one. And they're doing multiple fucking games. I still don't know how they're making any money off it, but I'm happy to pay the price what it is. So, it is what it is. Shall we move on to the next bit of news? This is quite an interesting one for you, Dan, actually, and myself. I'm not sure how true this is. There's rumours that Final Fantasy XIV is being developed for mobile phones in a joint venture between Square Enix and Tencent.
Oh, God, Tencent.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Yes. I don't... How the fuck are you going to play that game on a mobile phone? I don't know. I can't see it happening. It'd be very clunky. But I just thought it was quite interesting to see that piece of news online today.
I mean, they've put Final Fantasy XI is on mobile, I believe, isn't it?
Really? No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm pretty sure that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how they kept the game going.
No, really?
That was one of the ways they were trying to keep, because they don't actually want any of the Final Fantasy games to not be playable, which is one of the good things about 14, because 11 you can still play.
I'm looking at so all the news I've seen online on Google is 11 mobile game was cancelled.
Oh, right, fair. So it was a thing at one point.
But I think it's still quite popular on PC. So I think that's actually one of the oldest MMOs still running because it's older than World of Warcraft. So that's quite interesting. Another bit of interesting news for PlayStation is at the minute you can play PS3 games by streaming them to the device. Apparently they're going to be making it PlayStation 3 games compatible with the PlayStation 5.
I did hear this rumour, yeah.
So getting an emulator on there, that'd be quite good. If it happens. So hopefully, fingers crossed that they do that.
Will it still require you to install the games? Because that could be interesting if it didn't.
Well, I'm wondering if this means that you can only download them, and I'm wondering if it'll run discs or not. I don't know. I'd be quite interested to see this come out properly and find out. And my last bit of news, you might find this funny, you might not. A bloke in the UK was arrested and sent to jail for carrying a replica Master Sword.
I saw this, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't actually like a full-size sword. It was, I'm looking now, about...
Is it a letter opener?
12 inches or something? Yeah, so basically, obviously, our knife laws are quite strict here. Any blade over a certain length, you get arrested.
I mean, if it was a real blade, you can kind of understand. Because otherwise you could end up with basically people being like, oh yeah, he had a dagger, but it's apparently the dagger from like a certain game or whatever, and let him off.
Yeah, it's 22 centimeters in total, including the handle. Just looking at it here, but yeah, was arrested because it was in Nuneaton. Yeah, with the 6-inch blade visibly in hand. Police arrested him. Apparently, it's got one of the worst knife crime areas in the UK. Yeah.
The guy should have known better, really. Especially
yeah.
if he was open carrying it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
hide that bad boy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't expect to walk down the street. I mean, I know people that have obviously got like katanas and things like that, but you don't just have it on your belt walking down the street.
Yeah.
Like, what do you expect?
No, it's I thought it was quite an interesting piece of news, really, because not something you see every day.
That's probably what they thought when they saw him walking down the street.
Yeah. Yeah, strange, eh? That's all my news.
Did he do the Zelda death noise when he was actually
Probably.
arrested?
So I'm just closing my window because it's getting quite. I keep on getting bloody teenagers walking past, being noisy. It's annoying me.
Walking past or shuffling. The ones around here move about as fast as a Dalek through fucking tar.
Well, they all come. Well, they've all got those little gay scooters round here, you know. So, have you guys got any news or anything? Or I think we might be kind
Not
of
particularly, no.
No, not really.
Well, Darren, we said to you we'd be an hour, and we've been an hour. How do you feel?
Yeah, not bad. And I think we was quite positive this week as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you know.
Once.
I think gaming's for me. It's in a pretty good place at the minute. I'm enjoying what I'm playing. I feel like my mentality's changed a little bit. I don't know about you because I kind of forced myself to play loads of different games just for the podcast, whereas I'm kind of like taking a back seat at the minute, and I'm just like, I'm just going to play what I want to play, what I'm enjoying playing, and that's only been 2 games. And usually, I come on the podcast and I played like 7 or 8 games because I forced myself to play as many games as possible. But
no, I think quite a few of the ones you've had have been pick up and play, haven't they? So
yeah.
Like your little like arcadey ones or things that you've just tried out.
Yeah, obviously the Xbox 360 and stuff like that. But I think
I will say for people not aware, there was a Capcom show, wasn't there, last week?
Was there? I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't know what it's actually called. Capcom.
Oh, that's all right, because Resident Evil 9 was teased.
Oh, what? No, please no.
Yes.
I know that they showed off some more of Dead Rising.
Yeah.
The sort of like remaster kind of thing for that. And they also announced like a playable demo for that. I'm not even going to pronounce it. That game on the PS5 and Xbox and stuff. I'll just briefly look it up because it's on here. So
well, next week I'll be able to talk about the other game that I played last week that I couldn't talk about because I was game testing it.
All right, yeah.
Because it goes into open beta next week, so obviously I'll be able to talk about it then because it'll be an open beta and everyone will be checking it out anyway. So
yeah, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess.
Okay.
There's a demo out now for it on, I believe, all platforms.
What's it called? How do you spell that?
KUNITSU-GAMI.
Path of the Goddess.
That's the one. It's supposed to be, it looks weird because like part of it is kind of like ordering soldiers about, like slightly tower defensey maybe.
Oh, right.
But then there's also like an action hack and slashy element. I mean, visually I think it looks quite appealing, like the art style and everything to it. I haven't tested it out because obviously I don't think the game's getting a physical, so it's just like why bother trying something out that I'm not going to buy.
40 quid as well.
Oh, that Zenless Zone Zero came out this past week, didn't it, as well? It's basically another one of those Tower of Fantasy stroke Genshin Impact
Right.
gacha games where you gamble for things, I believe.
Okay.
I've heard mixed things. No doubt some people are going to like it, but again, the one thing that actually always annoys me is, as much as people love Genshin Impact and all that kind of stuff, just know one day that game you'll never be able to play it again.
Yeah.
Because they'll turn it off, the servers will go down, and that's it, all gone.
Right, yeah.
All for nout. And yeah, if you didn't spend anything on it, that's fair play, but I guarantee most people still fork out a little bit here and there.
Yeah, as I say, it just looks like a Genshin clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard some good things and some bad things. It's just one of those, depending who you ask.
Yeah.
Type of
Cool.
ordeals. But yeah, is that on all platforms? I know it's on PC and PS5.
Zenless Zone Zero.
Because obviously I've been seeing loads of like in like, what's it? Because it's almost like the asleep kind of thing, isn't it?
It's on Windows, PlayStation 5 and mobile phones. It's not on Xbox.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's kind of like, the fact that it's on mobile phones just tells you it's a mobile phone game just ported.
Oh, what's that? MiHoYo. So yeah, they do those. What they've done Honkai Star Rail and Genshin. Yeah.
And Genshin.
Yeah.
Gambling game.
So yeah, what's the fuck it? I thought it looked the same. Like Honkai Star.
See, that's one thing I will say so far. They're in the first Descendant. There's no get this character before they disappear forever during this event period.
Yeah.
There isn't really any of that. And if you obviously want characters, you can buy them outright or earn them and then craft them yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than like having to gamble for stuff.
Yeah.
On the chance that you may or may not get what you're after.
Oh yeah.
It's a weird gameplay loop that, again, it's like the people made it successful, so the developers are going to carry on with it. And it's like, yeah, well done.
Yeah. Cool, guys. Well, I think we're at the end. We'll try and make it a bit longer next week.
For now. Yeah. I mean, next week I should be okay, because obviously I won't be working all week.
Yeah, that's all good, mate. It's all good in the hood, mate. I mean, I think, we've played not much. There's been quite a bit of news that we've gone through, and I think that's about it.
Oh, didn't PlayStation announce that they were going to be at Tokyo Game Show this year as well during the week?
No, I've not seen that at all. So,
which is quite surprising, considering usually they sort of veer away from a lot of game show stuff, don't they? Because like both Microsoft, Sony and Nintendo don't bother with the what's the European one that's coming up soon? Gamescom, yeah, they don't bother with that, whereas Microsoft always turn up there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, I think they've also avoided TGS as well, but maybe they have stuff. I mean, I don't know when TGS is. It's usually around October time.
I think you're right, yeah.
But we still haven't heard anything yet of this supposed PS5 Pro or anything.
I think it's all just rumours, man.
Yeah. If it is due out like later this year, then they haven't got much longer to like actually showcase anything of it.
No, they haven't. No, I don't. As I say, I don't think that. I personally don't think that they'll bring one out this year. That's just what I think, anyway.
I mean, to be honest, they're better off capitalising on it before Nintendo announced their next system, because I think if Nintendo announced their next system and then they do it, like announce the Pro, then
They're different
I think
markets,
less
though, aren't
people are
they?
going to... Yes and no, but you are going to get a lot of people that'll be like, oh, fuck it, I was going to get that, but now I'll use the money on that instead.
Yeah,
Kind of a thing. It's like you said, there's only a certain amount of time in the day, and if they're especially like trying to target maybe even consumers in Japan,
yeah,
they'll obviously go mad for Nintendo stuff. It's in their best interests to get stuff
yeah,
out and about before obviously the latest Nintendo thing.
yeah. Cool.
I mean, it's got to be real considering like we've heard rumours of it for what, 2 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just like
Multiple rumours, like the devs have had things that enable like pro mode and all this like other bits and bobs, and it's up to such and such to do this, that, and the rest of it. But like I said, we haven't really had a proper Sony event this year yet.
Well, the one that they did do was fucking shit, wasn't it? So
well, it was like it was a third party thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't any of their first party or any of their sort of like main people that they generally have like massive deals with or anything in place. So it was kind of like, oh, this will do. Chuck something out there. We need something. So yeah, it's almost a bit of a pity because to me it almost feels like they put in the least amount of effort around E3 time.
Yeah.
Whereas if you think back to the previous E3s, they were like one of the best. They were the ones that put on the big shows that everyone wanted.
I still think PlayStation's in a weird place at the minute. I just don't... Personally, as a gamer, I just don't think they've been putting anything decent out for a while that I really want to play. And this is Sony themselves.
Well, they've done away with a lot of their interesting and different stuff. They've kind of sat back on their laurels, like we said, of like the God of War, Horizons, and just sort of like all of the Western stuff that seemed to sort of take off around the end tail period of the PS3.
Yeah.
And they've never particularly got that back. I mean, they've still got obviously a lot of the niche games, but then you look at a lot of the niche games, they're kind of thinned out now.
Yeah. As I say, like the only reason I have a PlayStation now is because of Final Fantasy, and it annoys me like they do come to PC.
Actually come to PC yet?
No.
Have we even heard it announced?
No.
Because that's been over a year now, hasn't it? Because 16 had its year's anniversary the other day, and I remember thinking, like, I'm pretty sure it was only supposed to be like a year's exclusivity, which to me is weird that we haven't heard anything. I thought they would have at least showed it off or talked about it at the event.
I'm hoping that Square Enix now, after that news from the other week I mentioned, that they're going to be focusing more on multi-platform, means that Final Fantasy games going forward will just be on everything on launch, because then I wouldn't even need a PlayStation because I'll just play them on PC or Xbox, you know? That's literally the only reason I've got my PS5 still, is for like a couple of games. Gran Turismo, which I very rarely play now. I've not played it in ages, but for the Final Fantasy games, you know?
And you'll obviously look forward to it for, what's it called, wouldn't you, next year? If it is next year.
What's that?
Grand Theft Auto?
Xbox.
Is it? Why would you want the Xbox version? You know PlayStation are going to have a deal for it, don't you?
I'd have it on Xbox, mate. I've got 2 Xboxes, haven't I? So I'd probably get it digital so I could play, you know, on my S upstairs and my X downstairs, you know?
Right.
Yes.
Because they're another weird one, aren't they?
Yeah, because GTA 6 is only coming to console, and then they're going to probably put it on PC about 6 months to a year later.
Yeah, they've always done that, haven't they?
Yeah. So they can get double sales.
Seems to be the way they roll. Yeah. Well, not only that, it's almost like, let's bring out the bog standard version. Then a year later, we'll put out the bells and whistles PC version with mod support.
Yeah.
And then we'll sell a shitload of copies. Look, there's a new lot of consoles coming out. Tell you what, we'll give them an upgraded version of the same game again. Yeah. Charge them more money.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe maybe, just off the top of my head, maybe we haven't heard of a PC version of 16 yet because they want to announce the PC and possibly a pro version of the same game at the same time.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. I just wish they'd launch them on PC on day and date now, because it just really fucking does my head in. Because like with 7 Remake, I played it on PlayStation and PC, and it was great on PC because I had the mods.
Yeah, that to be honest makes more sense to me, the 7 stuff, than 16.
Yes.
Because 7 obviously was like one of the biggest PlayStation games, period. Like it's almost remembered as being a PlayStation game.
Yeah, but I don't think Rebirth sold as well as Remake because it's just purely on the PS5.
Yes, that's one of the main reasons, yeah.
So
obviously you lost a few people because of the story changes.
Yeah.
And again, it's not available to as many people.
Yes, because obviously the other one was on the PS4. But I think,
think of when 7 Remake came out.
I know, over COVID.
Slap bang in the middle of lockdown.
Yeah.
When people are all sat at home with nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, mate. All good. Right.
Just wonders how long it'll be until we see another one.
Yeah. Anyway, dudes, I'm going to end it here. It's been awesome. So thank you very much for coming on, guys. I look forward to playing more of the first Descendant and Final Fantasy this upcoming week.
Enjoy.
I don't think next week I would have played anything else. I'm actually away for 2 days this week for work. I'm actually going to the office for the first time ever and staying the night in a hotel. So I might get some Steam Deck gaming in. Maybe, I don't know. A load of us are going out on the piss, so probably not. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But from all of us here, it's been great. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.